On today's agenda, some of you may be new to Quest. We'll go through a quick company overview, some of our differentiators, kind of our sweet spots. Probably the core of the meeting here is what's hot and trending at Quest. Adam Burke is going to take the bulk of the meeting today, talk about our hyperscaler consulting services. Huge topic going on in the marketplace right now. I'm in Cincinnati today. We've been doing a lot of partner events with the TSDs. Big topic around that area, though. So excited to have Adam kind of share some of the insights, some of the things we're seeing here. We do have some Q&A and some wrap up. Thanks to you who have submitted some questions over there. We really appreciate that. So, company overview. For those of you new to Quest, thank you for building this out, Adam. So, high level, Quest has been around since 1982, a very long time. We are QuestSYS.com. There are a lot of companies called Quest out there. I put that in there for myself so that everybody knows kind of where we are. We are their leading global vendor agnostic technology integrator, providing custom solutions. They're real simple go-to-market strategy since the early days around how can we help. That has really driven who we are as a company and what we do. There are tons of great products out there. There's obviously a lot of smart people in the marketplace out there. Where we've really made a mark and become dependent to our customers is, hey, what are they trying to do? Kind of where are their gaps and what can we help with? And you can see the list here that's taken us all different directions over the past 40 years. Products, professional managed services, obviously cyber and risk management is a huge component of just about everything today. Cabling and physical infrastructure, unified communications and carriers applications, staffing, pretty much everything up and down the entire stack here, with the glue being around, kind of our professional services and our resources around that. Next slide, Adam. So where are we located? We are headquartered in, like I said, Northern California and Sacramento, California. We do have 3 network and security operations centers globally. We have 2 main facilities that we own and operate in Northern California, Sacramento. I got about a couple 100,000 square feet of data center space that we own and operate. We also have Quest employees and facilities over in Manila, Philippines, Vietnam, and over in Dublin, Ireland, that are able to support the 24/7 managed security services that we support. So, obviously, ability to take a call 24/7. That's not only for technical and security questions. We also have a end user help desk and support center. It's a different user set than maybe your technical questions coming in. Again, all fully staffed by Quest employees, covered up and down the whole tech stack that I shared earlier. We do have co-location and cabinet space we've got about 20 some facilities that we're in domestically here in the US. It can pretty much land anywhere on the planet in other people's facilities as they need them. We also have some development centers that we work with for our application development and other resources globally, which you can see listed below. So where are we different? Where Quest is really centric, is really focused in being a good listener and really trying to understand those customer outcomes through integrated services. There's obviously tons of companies that y'all have access to through the TSD supplier portfolio out there. Any one of these pies fit here that, lots of suppliers there. Where we really start to differentiate is we really get to, when you start to bundle and put the service pillars together, when you need 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 slices of this pie, there's fewer and fewer suppliers in the portfolio that can really do all these. So maybe they need a technology product, they need professional services to, hey, what do I buy? How do I implement it? How do I migrate it? They need to land someplace in a Quest-owned or a third-party data center. They maybe need smart hands out there as you start to really listen to your customers and what their outcome is, and candidly the gaps, the glue in between all those areas to get that outcome is where we kind of live and where we kind of flourish with our customer base. So that's a huge area for us. And as I shared, our core building blocks, this is really centric. It's not, it's a pie chart here on one hand, but it's not meant to be limiting in any extent. These are just some examples of some of our core services that we deliver to our customers through our channel partners. Like I said, as you start to cross into the different areas over here, you start to, get differentiate Quest versus other suppliers in the portfolio. Maybe look at to either consolidate suppliers or round out the different portfolios. So obviously, cyber, we're definitely Adam, I can't remember if the slide is in here on in our core with the managed security providers, but you're going to maybe touch on that and the different services here, professional infrastructure, disaster recovery. All these things are core services to Quest with not only our own solutions, but also through different technology providers we can bring to the market. And
Awesome.
with that, I'm excited to hand it over to Mr. Burke to talk about the core of our presentation today. So Adam, what's going on and trending over at Quest over here? Take us away.
Yeah, no, thanks, Gary. I appreciate everyone hopping on today. If you find any value in what we're doing, please share it out with the content. We'll have it available. We'll send it out to you afterwards as a follow-up, but also interactive. So if there are any questions as I'm going through this, please don't hesitate to ask any questions. Something that we're seeing from our side of the fence as a supplier is a lot around some hyperscaler consulting services and some additional options out there in the marketplace. So we all know GCP, Azure, and AWS. Quest is a partner with all three of those hyperscalers, and we have access to them. As Gary showed, we have multiple data centers. We're seeing clients need express routes, direct connects, point-to-points from our data centers to the hyperscalers as well. But what we're also seeing, and real quick, just to highlight, because shame on us, sometimes people don't know all the different things that we do and that you have access to as partners, but we have the ability to create dedicated public, shared, or hybrid solutions at any location. And we do mean any location. We own and operate our own data centers, but we operate out of hundreds of locations around the globe, providing compute assets as well as connections to other compute assets in the cloud that we're providing, or that maybe one of the other hyperscalers is providing, and we're acting as a reseller or an aggregator of that capacity. Very, very flexible. We monitor everything up, down, report, log management, store the logs, can help remediate issues remotely, can help doing advanced anomaly detection, endpoint detection, next generation firewalls, anything that touches the network, anything that touches the compute stack, anything that touches the hosted applications. Quest has the ability to manage, maintain, and support it, regardless of what platform it is. So, and that goes all the way down to full analytics, full testing and penetration tests, and helping people with real-time reporting. If they need support on part of their IT infrastructure from an MSP or an MSSP security standpoint, Quest can engage, and we have the building blocks to do it. This is one of the biggest differentiators we have, and this is what we're seeing in the hyperscaler space as well, is clients trying to figure out where they want to consume technology. Do they want to put all of their key applications and, more importantly, their classified data up in the cloud, or do they want to keep some of it on premise? Would they like it to be hosted by their team in a data center of their choosing, and maybe supported, monitored, managed by Quest? That's kind of this middle block here. Or are they looking for us to provide the platform in a dedicated space for them that they can manage, they can control, all the way to when we're talking about artificial intelligence and large language models and things like that. Quest can provide dedicated platforms that keep that data set of that client private and contained for them to manage and not necessarily share all of their corporate data with other AI learning models. So we can provide a platform as a service on a dedicated instance or in a container that doesn't give the AI agents, if you will, access to all of their proprietary information, but they can create their own learning models there. And then full software as a service. We connect to Azure, we connect to GCP, we can help provide the software as a service look and feel and also help them secure it. We all kind of seen the cloud tech stack, shared responsibility models, what it means. It really is how customers want to consume things, where they want their assets to reside, and how they want to take responsibility for supporting, managing, maintaining their data, supporting their people. We talk through this shared responsibility matrix with clients all the time, and we're seeing your clients, we're seeing people in the market vacillate a little bit between going full cloud, back to colo, a little bit of private, a little bit of hybrid. There is not a one size fits all. So what we're also seeing is people have been in cloud services, in hosted, in hyperscalers, and they're starting to see more and more ramp up of costs, and they're trying to also figure out a way to categorize and secure their data. So these are some trends that we're seeing that, in 2025, repatriation, basically fancy word of bringing data and bringing corporate assets out of the cloud and onto a private workload environment is growing. 86%, of CIOs have planned to move some of their workloads back to on-premise. A lot of this has to do with data and having access to their corporate and their client data in a way that large language and agent AI models aren't learning from their intellectual property, right? You've seen AI agents and things like that going out, combing the web and pulling in all data that's available. We're seeing the same thing in private environments when you're dealing with things like Copilot and things like that. Quest is helping to create rules and limitations on those AI agents. The same thing is going on in the public world. If you're putting your data out there, if it's accessible, people are getting trained on it. So we are seeing organizations try to figure out what can be in the public workspace, what can be in the public cloud, and what they want to keep a little bit closer to home. That spend is increasing. Your clients are trying to figure out where they want their applications to run. So we can help. If you need help with that, that's something we're definitely doing. Some of the reasons they're doing it is cost. Like I mentioned, some of the reasons are privacy and compliance and security reasons. Sometimes having your data set and your applications in the cloud, multiple APIs get connected to other assets, and it's hard to understand who's sharing what. Just because it's in the cloud doesn't mean that cloud providers are managing the configuration, the policies, and the management. So it does take just as much care and feeding sometimes to make sure that your policies and your configurations are the way you want them to be. Not a positive thing, but you see in the licensing models and the way that vendors are starting to work with, and have always been working with customers, really is everyone kind of wants to control everyone else's spend. So vendor lock-in is a real thing. And if you put all your eggs in one basket and don't diversify a little bit, you can be very, very dependent when the rules of the road change. We're seeing this with VMware and Broadcom. In that situation, a lot of organizations are losing control of their ability to kind of, self-determination and path of how they're going to move forward with their virtualization strategy. VMware is getting very aggressive in removing features and kind of giving organizations one path and one option. Just is what it is. It's their business decision. And as operators and as trusted advisors and technology consultants, diversification is not a bad thing, right? There is a skills gap and there is a challenge in operating cloud environments, board in the cloud instances, and all that type of thing. So how do we help, right? How can Quest help you? How can Quest help your customers? What are solutions that we have? So a couple of things we're going to be going through here is we have a Quest Edge Compute capability. It's basically a hyperscaler-like environment but it's at the edge. It's at our data centers. It's in our environment. It's hosted as a service, but it gives that same kind of scalability, typically at about 40% less 40 to 50% less what clients are spending in the large hyperscalers. It's dedicated instances. We got plenty of compute available in different regions around the United States and overseas. It's a quick ability to turn those assets on, replicate them between sites. Awesome platform. We have migration services helping organizations get in and out of the hyperscalers, right? If they want to move their workloads there, we can help. If they want to move them out, we can help. If they want to build something custom, we can help. AI workshops, software licensing, and of course, ad hoc professional services. So we'll jump into a little bit here. Our edge compute, these are all different edge compute nodes all over the globe, where we have the ability to quickly and rapidly provide additional compute services in region as clients want them, right? So it's a dedicated instance for your client, very similar look and feel to, if they're familiar with the AWS platform, same look and feel to that. They can schedule their own storage, their own CPU, their own allocation of RAM to servers, build their own applications, and basically turn up and turn down capacity based on a sandbox approach on how much they would like to reserve. So if they need, multiple cores of CPU, gigs of RAM, and terabytes of storage, how much do you need? How much is your sandbox? How much of a sandbox would you like to build? And we can help them turn that up very quickly. And again, we're seeing clients when they're looking at like an AWS or an Azure instance of this versus going to edge compute. And we have use cases around this in higher ed, financial services, and manufacturing, where they're saving between 40 and 50% of their monthly recurring costs in a like-for-like environment. So great option. A lot of people don't know they have these types of options out there in the marketplace. We'd love to have these conversations and take a look at what they're consuming right now or what they're considering to consume and walk them through that. They do have options when it comes to how they want to host their assets in a third-party site.
Hey, Adam, just on that real quick, talking about how we're different and the vendor lock-in strategy. Can you talk a little bit about the platforms, how they be customizable, not necessarily be locked into the public clouds, tool sets and the disadvantages there? There's some advantages that we can provide dedicated to the customer, maybe on a platform that they like.
Yeah, so there is the ability that if a client has a preference around what platform, endpoint, or compute that they like, we can also build custom. So they have the ability to say, hey, we really like this brand of server, this brand of virtualization technology. We want to move away from VMware or Broadcom, or we want to lean in with them, but we want to have this backup strategy. Oftentimes in the hyperscalers, you are tied to their environment and their, I think they call it their marketplace selection of partners, which is great, and all sorts of good capabilities there. But your dollars are kind of allocated there. In our environment, we can provide the platform that they require, whether it's built on servers that we're providing or compute that we're providing in a design that we work through with them on a dedicated instance, or they can basically consume what we have built out from an edge standpoint. So Gary, any other thoughts that you wanted to kind of share with the partners on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to call. I think that's a big deal as customers really look to get repatriated and move back. There's lots of reasons to do that. One of them is not being held hostage. And I think, in my mind, there's a great story to tell there that many partners have the ability to share with their customers that they may candidly not be aware of on that side. So when that comes up, know that there's options there.
Yeah, and if there's a technology set that your clients like, this is classic. Is clients sometimes don't know the options that they have, and as technology advisors, one of your biggest strengths that we want to make sure you can bring to the table is, hey, there's a different way to do this, and one of those is if they like a certain technology, if they really love, I don't know, just pulling something out. Pure Storage, for example, or the NetApp arrays or FlexPod architecture, or they like a certain hyperscaler or Nutanix or whatever it is. These are all building blocks, and where Quest is different is we're a value-added reseller. We have relationships and agreements with all the major manufacturers out there, right? And they all have great things to offer the channel. But sometimes clients think, oh, that's a me responsibility as the client. I have to manage that environment. I have to buy it. I have to source the data center. I have to bundle it together. I have to validate the design. I have to support it day two. No, you as a technology advisor can go in there and let them know that there's an organization that can take the parts and pieces that they like. We can bundle it together and deliver the entire thing as a service in the same way they consume it from a hyperscaler today. Huge differentiator, the idea of they can prefer a certain technology, they can buy into a certain strategy and it can work for their business, but how it's delivered and how it's consumed can really lock people up sometimes. And as an MSP and as a system integrator, that's one of our biggest strengths is we can work with you and your client to customize something to deliver the outcome they're looking for. They don't have to just do it the same way they've always done it, either buy it and operate it or hand the keys over to a hyperscaler and hope for the best. They have options. It's probably the biggest takeaway we want to make sure everyone has there. So and again, hyperscalers are great. We do a lot of work with Azure and AWS and do a lot of development on those platforms. But people need to diversify. And something that we're seeing people need help with is clean and consistent migrations into the cloud, into providers or out. So we've helped build private cloud environments, as I was just discussing. We've also helped organizations move and build successfully into the hyperscale environment. So think SharePoint in the cloud. I need a good landing zone for a hosted workspace for my clients. Clients want to build out a new SharePoint instance or a new platform for sharing data in a secure way between themselves and clients. And they want to leverage like an Azure instance to do that. We help them build that. We help them migrate it, and we help them connect their end users or create a front end for them to work with. So a lot of work getting from point A to point B. Classic problem that you guys probably deal with as technology advisors is the idea that, hey, I have on-premise equipment and it's this capacity. It's 200 gigs of RAM, whatever cores of CPU and 20 terabytes, and I'm going to sell them XYZ in the cloud. Right? We're going to do a capacity planning exercise and do a like-for-like migration. That move from on-premise to cloud is a difficult task. The hyperscalers do not out with that transition. They'll give you the on-ramp. They'll help you once you get the data there, and they'll help you build it out. But successfully migrating from point A to point B is something that does take a little bit of work. So a lot of opportunity there to get that right. Probably one of our hottest conversations and workshops going on right now, especially in the cybersecurity space, is our AI workshops. And these AI workshops are not, futurist sessions where we talk about, what could be and what will be and all that kind of stuff. That's not what we do here. But what they are tactical conversations around what potential AI agents will mean to an organization. If you treat AI agents as individuals within an organization, what access do they have? What capabilities do they have? And what policies do you need to have in place in order to deal with them, right? So when you're talking about things like Microsoft Copilot or organizations tapping into like ChatGPT or different AI platforms, how are you managing your data set? How are you keeping that information in-house? How are you managing the policies of your workers, leveraging these tools as well? So having that AI conversation with the lens of cybersecurity and securing the environment. These conversations lead to real opportunities that we can help clients solve a problem today for things around AI that are going to be happening down the road. A lot of people love to talk about AI. A lot of people love to kind of go out there and have the agent conversation, the futurist conversations, but how are they actually dealing with it? I was reading an article just the other day around AI fatigue in the enterprise, because people have spent a lot of money, they've built things, they've invested in large language learning models and things like that, and the return on investment for organizations is not quite there yet. And a lot of that, I believe, and we believe, comes from not doing the work up front to understand how you're going to leverage those tools, right? It's the idea of, hey, let's just go hire a bunch of people and the revenue will come. That's no different than, hey, let's go build a bunch of AI agents and the revenue will come. Reverse that thinking. Go through a workshop with your clients on what challenges do you have from a business standpoint now, and what can you leverage within the AI world to deal with those challenges. A lot of people think that you create AI agents or you create some type of new software tool and opportunities are going to rain down on you, and all of a sudden your business is going to get swamped with engagement. That's kind of the build it and they will come model. And we see a lot of folks get flame out and burn out doing that. It's fun. It's really fun to talk about. But typically most of us like to help our customers either sell more of what they're doing or make more of what they're doing and not be a cost center. If you don't want to be a cost center and you want to be something that helps them do more, let's get involved in an AI workshop. Let's talk about how this can help secure their environment. They can get more out of their investments. They can do more with less, as opposed to like maybe creating, there are only so many Elon Musks and only so many Chat GPTs in the world, all right? Those guys have money to burn. Most of our clients in the middle market are trying to run a business and operate a P&L. So having a AI workshop specifically around how do we help secure you during this rapid time of change, as well as maybe get a little bit more efficiency out of your workforce. Those are some things we love to put together. Great opportunity. If you have any more questions about that, please reach out. That's definitely an area where we're seeing a lot of needs and requirements there. This one's fun. A lot of folks on here come from the telecom. A lot of our partners come from the telecom world, classic business engagement model back in the day. And I think still a lot of people do it is, hey, let's take a look at your telecom spend and see if we can optimize it and do all that kind of good stuff, right? We've been involved in channel partners in that world for 15 years now. So we've definitely seen that play. You're seeing a very, very similar situation happen in the software licensing world. So this is happening for a few reasons. One, software organizations are getting acquired, right? I mentioned the Broadcom VMware situation a couple of times today, but there's probably 15 or 20 other major OEMs, manufacturing SaaS companies that are going through some level of private equity consolidation or public market manipulation that is kind of messing with licensing schemes. And everyone's kind of changing the game. They're changing rules, they're changing requirements. And we see it every single day. Every single day we're dealing with this. We are a MSP and MSSP. We acquire software, we acquire hardware, and we deliver it as a service to our clients. So when you're thinking like, well, what the hell, Quest, do you know about software licensing? Our business, our profitability, the ability for us to maintain a profit margin for our cost of goods sold is very, very highly dictated by our ability to effectively manage these waters. And as Gary mentioned, we've been around about 42 years. There's a great saying, Army guy here, beware of the old man in an industry where men die young. Okay, so a lot of MSPs, a lot of people flame out. We've been around for 42 years because we understand and we are very, very diligent about understanding licensing costs and things like that. We're seeing our customers get challenged with this. Your customers are challenged with this. So what we put together is a workshop and a conversation. And in our next Quick Quest update that you guys hopefully are logged into and getting our Quick Quest updates, we're sending out messaging around how to start this conversation with your customers, right? So having a licensing conversation, having a quick review, how are they currently licensed? What are some potential challenges? What are some overlaps? What are some entitlements they might not be using? Are there areas where we can optimize their spend, right? If they're spending, 3 providers doing the same function, whether it's logging events or securing endpoints or monitoring their network, people have bought all sorts of tools. And part of the skills gap is they don't have the tool sets appropriately categorized and effectively used. So another thing is we can bundle those licensing packages together and help with ongoing maintenance and create a long-term plan for them to get the most out of their licensing. So the rules are changing. The landscape is changing constantly. Quest, we deal with this every single day. Every single day, we are dealing with licensing changes, cost models changing, random McKesson engineers coming in for organizations that they just bought and changing the licensing scheme to increase their EBITDA and their market value. All sorts of shenanigans go on. So we can help. This is something your customers are very, very challenged with. They're trying to run their business. They're not necessarily seeing this every day. So if we can set up an hour to an hour and a half conversation, huge opportunity. Big part of your client's wallet share is going into licensing, and we help with that. Another differentiator, and this again, we're seeing this one rapidly take off as well as help desk. But this is a on-call support opportunity for technical on-call support. Basically, think about it as a 24/7 phone a friend, Uber for engineering capability, where your clients can have access to the hundreds of engineers that Quest has on our bench and available for either remote, on-site, or emergency support. It's a simple retainer-based or pay-as-you-go model. So it's very, very customizable to what they want. If they want to allocate a certain amount of dollars for the year into this, great. That's their bucket of funds. Good to go. Or if they want to have a pay-as-you-go model, where they pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I need this resource, right? I need a SQL database DBA, or I need a SharePoint person to help me with this project," whatever it is. They can add funds on the fly with basically it's a simple a click where they say, "Hey, I want to allocate this amount," and it funds it at that time. Very, very powerful on-demand capability for them. So if they like Uber, if they like Lyft, if they like being able to get a car in any city at any time to take them from point A to point B, and they like that model, and they wish, man, shit, someone should do this for IT. Quest has done it. We got it built. It's ready to go. We've been operating for 5 years. Huge adoption. It's the idea of, I need to have this resource at this location or at this time to help me get from point A to point B. And that's what our team can do. So very, very powerful capability, national and international capabilities there as well. We had some resources on the ground in South Pacific. We've had resources on the ground in the UK and Great Britain. You let us know where you need people. We'll get it figured out and get it coordinated for your clients. Very, very powerful. So just to summarize, and that on-call support, that technical on-call support, is also the ability to help organizations from a from a migration standpoint. A lot of folks need a sounding board, need a system administrator, need a senior DBA, someone to help them get from point A to point B. We can help there, right? So as we kind of talk through, when we're talking about public or private or migration challenges, limited support, they don't know what they're doing from a security standpoint, or they're concerned about security issues. Maybe they don't have the backups coordinated, or the resiliency, and hey, do it yourself is great until you get into trouble. So we can help in a lot of different ways. We can help from a testing standpoint. We can help from a DevOps standpoint by testing APIs when they move from point A to point B. We can help them understand the roles and responsibilities in public cloud from a governance standpoint, who's actually responsible for their data. Hint, hint, it's not Microsoft, it's not AWS, and it's not people with the best lawyers in the world. They're not taking responsibility for your customers' data. So I know it's kind of a reality conversation, and people don't necessarily like to have a reality conversation, but people with better lawyers are not going to take responsibility for your data. It just is what it is. Read the SLA from your hyperscalers. You're on your own. So we can help. We can help secure that. We can help them understand that, and we can help them put policies in place to get that done.